Hi, I'm Molly with West Virginia University Extension Service Family Nutrition Program, and today we are making a Thanksgiving side dish, but putting a healthy spin on it. Everybody loves to have stuffing along with their turkey, and today we are going to make a healthier alternative using whole grain bread. Before you start cooking, it's always a good idea to wash your hands, your fruits and vegetables, and clean your cooking surfaces. I've already done that, so I'm ready to get started. Our ingredients that we're going to use today are celery, leeks, diced onion, fresh sage, Italian parsley, vegetable or chicken stock, olive oil, salt, and some pepper. Now, I have prepped some of these ingredients ahead of time, but I want to tell you about this guy right here. This is a leek. Leeks take 365 days, that's right, a year, to grow to maturity. So over that time, they can get to be pretty dirty. It's important to know the correct way to clean a leek so that it's safe for you to eat and tastes great. So to prepare a leek, and we need 2 of these, we are going to chop off the root part on the bottom, discard that, and chop off these tough green leaves in the top. I mean, you can tell these have been outside for a long time. Don't want to eat those. So we are left with this part of our leek. And when we cook, we want to make a flat surface so that it's easy for us to prepare. So I'm just going to slice down my leek to get a flat surface. And you can tell there are lots of layers in there for dirt and sand and things to hide that we don't want in our dish. So once I've got my flat surface, I'm going to cut these into little half moon shapes and just go all the way down. And a leek is a really nice mild onion. It's not going to make you cry when you cut it, but just adds a nice flavor. Now, once you have cut your 2 leeks, you want to put them in a colander, but you want to separate all of these little pieces. So you just kind of go through. So after you have your leeks in the colander and they're all separated, you are going to rinse very thoroughly under running water and really spray it or rinse it, mix it around, rinse it again to get any kind of grit or sand off of it. So I have already done that with 2 leeks right here. So that's what 2 leeks chopped up looks like. So we're gonna get started our olive oil in our skillet and do the leeks, the celery, and the onion. And they're gonna get cooked down and tender and translucent. And then we're gonna be ready to add those veggies to our whole grain bread cubes, and it's gonna be ready to cook. So I'm measuring in a tablespoon of olive oil. I've heated up my 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and now I'm gonna add my vegetables. I've got our diced onion, three stalks of celery, and our 2 leeks. So this will cook for about 6 to 8 minutes until it's all tender and it'll start to become see-through. And while that gets started, I'm gonna prepare some of our fresh herbs that we're gonna add. I already did the sage, which is a classic herb used in a lot of Thanksgiving dishes. Goes great with turkey. And now I've got some Italian flat leaf parsley. And I am just gonna grab some of the large leaves in the top, and this has been washed, and this is a great way to store it in your refrigerator. It'll keep it fresh and ready to go for you. So when I cut fresh parsley, I grabbed a handful, and I'm just going to kind of bunch it up as best as I can and run my knife through it up and down, because I don't want to pulverize it. You don't want it to be too squashed and look unattractive. And then once I've gone through once, I kind of go back and just rock back and forth, and then go the other way and rock back and forth, not even picking up the tip. And then kind of push your pile together and go through it again, rocking back and forth, push your pile together and go back through. And then we're ready to go. I'm gonna show you what I did to prepare our bread cubes. So we used whole wheat bread, and it is sometimes difficult to find an actual 100% whole grain bread. You really need to look at the ingredients to see that it says 100% whole wheat or 100% whole grain. A lot of times the bread will have whole grains or whole wheat in it, but if it's not the first ingredient, then it isn't truly 100% whole wheat or whole grain. So we've got our whole wheat bread that I have diced up into cubes, or it can be torn into pieces, and that's another job that a little helper could help you with, is to tear the bread up into pieces. And then we're going to toast the bread. And this is an important step because the bread has a lot of moisture in it, and you want to take that moisture out so that it can absorb all of the great stuff we're going to add. So let me check on our veggies. I'm going to add my bread cubes to a large bowl because I've got a bunch of vegetables to add. And the liquid that we're going to add is going to get absorbed into this. So you're probably thinking, gosh, that looks like a lot, but it really is going to get absorbed and isn't going to be as much as you think. So once our vegetables are nice and soft and translucent, I'm going to turn off our heat and add our herbs in. If you add them while on the stove, they don't need to cook or brown or anything, and they can cook down too much, so that's why we wait until the heat's off. And we're going to add our parsley and our chopped fresh sage. An alternative to the fresh herbs, of course, would be to use dried, but you would need to make sure that you get the equivalent right, because the dried herbs are going to be more concentrated than the fresh, so you wouldn't need as much. So this is smelling amazing, and we're going to add all of our veggies to our bread cubes. And then once we've got that in there, to help make this a little more manageable, we're gonna add our broth. So we're gonna use 3 cups of vegetable or chicken stock, That was 2 cups. These boxes hold 4. So let's measure out another cup. And we're gonna add some salt and a few grinds of fresh cracked pepper, and you can tell it's already, so I'm just gonna mix this around, add our pepper. Keep mixing. You wanna coat all of those bread cubes with the broth and all of the herbs and yummy vegetables. Now that we've got our stuffing all mixed up, we're gonna add it to our casserole dish, and you can use a 9x13 pan or a deeper casserole dish like this. I've got my oven preheated to 375, and I'm just gonna add this in. If it doesn't all fit, you could split it up into a couple different dishes. Already smells like Thanksgiving. Okay, we made our stuffing all fit into this dish, and we're going to cover it. If you don't have a lid, you could definitely use a piece of tin foil. And now this is gonna go in our 375-degree preheated oven. We're gonna leave that in our preheated oven for 20 minutes covered, and then take our cover off and continue to cook it for about 20 to 25 minutes more until it is golden brown and nice and crunchy on top. I just took our stuffing out of the oven, and you can tell I've got some nice crispy pieces on top, but underneath it is still really nice and moist. Nobody likes dry stuffing. So I'm gonna get a good bite. With my vegetables and a piece of whole grain bread. It is so flavorful. I can really taste the leeks and the onions and the fresh herbs. For more healthy recipes, be sure to check out Facebook or our YouTube channel.